Hello, everybody. Aloha, and thank you so much for being here today. Lots going on. I'm Natalie. This is Life After a Cult. This is a channel where we expose cult nonsense. We laugh at those absurdities, and we hopefully unbrainwash ourselves in the process. Lots going on today. Ryan Reynolds just spoke at a conference that gives cult adjacent vibes. I think you know what I'm talking about. Leah Remini is out there claiming benches like it's Monopoly, and I am loving it. And you know who's not going to love it? Scientology. We're going to talk about that. Jenna Miscavige is spilling the kind of tea Scientology definitely hopes you will never hear. So buckle up because today's culty chaos is one for the books for sure. Moderator, thank you for being here. I see you, members, everybody in the live chat. I'm so glad you're here. If you're on the replay, jump in those comments. We want to hear from you as well. We do have a question of the day. So if you're in the live chat, go ahead and answer. And if you are on the replay, answer in the comments. The question of the day is, would you speak at Grant Cardone's event if they paid you? Yes or no? Bonus if you add in the why. Like why? One way or the other. And we're talking about the 10X conference. I'm going to show you a clip about that coming up and how Ryan Reynolds showed up. And we've got lots of questions. I've got lots of questions, which I think means you guys have lots of questions. We're going to look at all of it. So first, though, we got to take a look. We got to do a little Tom Cruise news because there are some things Tom Cruise is not having, and he has it written into his movie contracts. And there is a video that came out from What Culture, and the video is about 10 rare movie actor contract clauses you never knew. And this one, of course, we're going to look at the one about Tom Cruise. There's a whole bunch of other ones. I will link everything down below in the description of this video when I'm all done, so you can go check out these videos at length. A lot of what I share, it is just a snippet, a look, a peek, a little lifting of the skirt, if you will. But if you want to see the whole thing, click on those videos after I link them down below and go watch them all. So let's talk about a little bit of what is Tom Cruise like? No, man, you can't do that. No, if I'm signing a contract and we're doing a movie, this is just not going to happen.
Surprising that he has a clause written into his blockbuster movie projects which prevents his likeness from being used for action figures, video games, and other peripheral merchandise. Even as far back as 1987's Top Gun, Cruise had
So isn't that interesting? Tom Cruise is not down with the action figures or video games, any of that with his likeness.
not lent his likeness to a video game adaptation, nor even agreed to have his face plastered on any video game adaptation's box. Despite the obvious commercial potential of Mission Impossible action figures, the only Ethan Hunt figures with his likeness are unofficial, fan-made ones. It's been speculated by some that this may be a Scientology-mandated stipulation, but
now, it's not. Let's address that right off the bat. There is nothing that would prevent him in Scientology from having action figures or being in a video game unless they were about how much Scientology sucks and it's a cult.
There's never been anything to completely confirm this. Still, considering the added revenue streams Cruise could tether himself to by simply allowing his face to appear in additional movie media, it's a pretty odd move that he's so protective of it.
I wonder, tell me in the chat, why do you guys think that is? Jump in the comments. I'm curious. I don't understand why. I don't know. Are video games and you know, those little action dolls something that he is above that? I don't know. I'm over here like, heck, make an action doll out of me. Let's sell it. Let's make that money. But he's like, no. I'm over here, put me in a video game. Tom Cruise is like, no. But I guess if you have enough money doing what you're doing, and so here's my suspicion. I think it's more about him not having that control. I think it's more about control, what he can control, what he cannot control, and he just doesn't trust people to do it. I think it's actually a good idea because at some point, you know, he might slow down on making movies and not want to do that. And I think it's another income stream. But if you don't need it, I guess, why would you do it? But tell me what you guys think about that. Chuck Ross says no action figures because those tiny body thetans are a choking hazard. Oh my God, Chuck Ross, that's hilarious. Angela says he doesn't want people to be able to manipulate his body or likeness in ways he cannot control. I agree with that, Angela. That's what I think is going on. But you guys tell me, jump in those comments. What is the deal? Why do you think he doesn't want to do that? And then I'll pull some of those up and we'll look at them. In the meantime, we need to go to the TikTok because over on TikTok, there is a guy named Ray William Johnson who has a huge channel. Is it called the channel on TikTok or a page? Can you tell I'm not on TikTok? I was on TikTok. Actually, you know what? Weird thing happened. I was on TikTok, but I rarely ever went on or did anything with it. Very little. And when I went to go log in again after the whole TikTok hoo-ha where it was going away and then it's staying, I got this message saying that my TikTok account was suspended. And I'm like, for what? For doing nothing? For mentioning Scientology maybe 2-3 times. I don't know what that was about. So I don't do a lot on TikTok, mainly because I'm just not the demographic for it. All the flashing things is too much. Too much. I am a middle-aged menopausal woman in the Midwest and I cannot keep up with the TikTok. So this guy though is over on TikTok and he did an excellent video. We are only going to look at a little bit of it, but I recommend you go watch it because it's actually longer, about Danny Masterson and the Danny Masterson trial, everything that happened. And he really gets into it. And this thing, I think, has gotten over 4 million views already. And it just came out the other day. So check this out.
Show That 70s Show? Well, you probably know that one of the lead actors is in big trouble. Now, the story starts with a woman named Chrissy, and Chrissy's 18. She just moved away from home to pursue a career in Hollywood, and so far, it's going pretty well. She's getting a bit of work. But one night, everything changes because she's out at a party, and that is when she meets this guy, Danny. And Danny's a few years older than her, and he's already...
So he gets into the whole story. I'm not going to play a lot of it because it actually goes on, but really tells the story. So if you want kind of like, I mean, it's not like hours long, right? Check it out. I'm going to link it down below, but he really lays it all out. And I think it's interesting that he's covering that now. And I'm happy about it because it brings back into the conversation what Danny Masterson did and also Scientology's role in that, in trying to silence his victims. And that for me is such a key message when it comes to exposing Scientology, is the lengths they go to one, victim blame, and secondly, silence those victims. So do check that out over on TikTok. Okay, before I share this next clip, we have to wake up the Office of Special Affairs because they need to know about this, because we're going to be talking a bit about David Miscavige. So David Miscavige, wake up your people. Office of Special Affairs, rise and shine on this Wednesday, Thursday before the day before. So I know you're really busy. You're probably up really late. Hopefully you got some coffee. Oh, and OSA, remember, hit the like button and make sure you're still subscribed. Somebody yesterday said they were unsubscribed and they don't know why. And I want to make sure that you do not miss my content, my friends in the Office of Special Affairs. Okay, so we're going to talk about a video I did the other day with Jess LaBarber, and she dropped some bombs. So Jess LaBarber was a Sea Organization member, but not just any member of the Sea Org. She was at the international base. You know, that confidential secret base that no one knows about unless you can get on Google? Then you know. But Scientologists and Sea Org members don't even know where it is. Highly, highly confidential. I'm assuming they're still doing that, even though there's a giant sign outside telling you it's Golden Era Productions. But don't tell the Scientologists. What kind of message does that send when you let all the people of the world who go by see your secret lair, but you won't tell your own people, Sea Org members and Scientologists? I think it's just another way they just create this false idea that being at the international base is a place where everybody is thriving, and that is not the case. And Jess LaBarber shared a very disturbing story of when she was there as a teenager, and she had a boyfriend there in the Sea Organization, and they were doing what, you know, teenagers do, right? You kind of want to touch each other in some fun ways. Well, Scientology leader Office of Special Affairs, pay attention because he's probably going to do this to you too. David Miscavige decided this would be a great time to humiliate 2 minors in front of 800 other staff. And Jess shares that story. Let's take a look at this. And shout out to Jess LaBarber too for coming on and doing this video.
But you didn't want 800 people to know this.
No, so you're in front of 800 people. He's reading in detail what it is you and your boyfriend did. You're a minor.
And telling us how awful we are. Well, we both were. We were the same age. So we're both minors. So he's outing 2 minors for their fun touching to 800 people in direct violation of the tech. And part of me wanted to run up the center aisle and smack Ray Midoff.
Now, Ray Midoff was the case supervisor international. His job is to ensure that Scientology technology is being correctly applied. It is a straight up violation of L. Ron Hubbard's own words and technology and beliefs for David Miscavige to do this, to humiliate staff with stuff that came from what was supposed to be their confidential files. But we've known for a long time that this happens because so many people have left the Sea organization and experienced this, even having to salute David Miscavige's dog, which Jess had to do as well. Absolutely ridiculous. And I don't blame her one bit for wanting to run up there and smack Ray Midoff, who should have put a stop to this. But that's the thing. Nobody stood up to David Miscavige. Nobody stands up to him. It is just allowed to happen. Now, one thing he cannot control, actually, there's a lot he cannot control. But one big factor in all of this is Jenna Miscavige, the niece of David Miscavige, who was in the Sea organization. She wrote this amazing book about her experience in Scientology growing up in the Sea organization, beyond belief. And listen to this. She did another interview recently with Tim Fletcher on his new channel, which is Time with Tim Fletcher. And they tackled a lot, but we're going to look at a clip where they're talking about battling anxiety and shame after Scientology. Jenna is so raw in how she opens up in these interviews. And if you haven't seen them, I think there's 3 of them out right now. I think there's going to be 4 total. It's on Time with Tim Fletcher. I'm going to link this one down below. We're going to look at a clip from it. But these interviews are amazing. And as a former cult member, I relate so much. It felt like therapy to me watching these videos. And I think it might be a similar experience for many of you, never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult because, trauma is trauma. And you may not have grown up in Scientology, but you might have experienced something in terms of a high control group or some abuse at home. And Tim Fletcher really lays out some tools to help with this. So let's take a look at the clip and then we shall discuss.
Oh my God. I was so afraid of financial insecurity, even though we were fine the whole time. I was so afraid that I was doing this other business and trying to make it be so successful and take care of the kids and no balls could be dropped. And it was all out of this fear of security.
Exactly.
That was not a problem, but it could be. Exactly. And it was really hard when we first came out of Scientology, really, really hard. And it was hard, not to have anybody really there for us and people rooting for us to fail. So it really was hard. And I was so afraid of my kids. Now we have kids. If that happened, then that would be so scary. And so I was so afraid of it. And then he would be like, no matter what, we'll be fine. I was like, that is not the answer that I'm looking for. That is not the attitude that is going to get us where we need to get. But it actually is. Oh my God, I was.
It's really interesting because we carry around when we have these experiences, that anxiety, even when our situation has changed. And that's what I found so powerful about this interview is really recognizing how sometimes we may no longer be in a situation that is dangerous, but we're still living, thinking, and acting as if we are, which then my understanding of how that works, you would just end up with more of that, what you don't want, because there's such a focus on it. And that's not actually the reality. It's so interesting to see them have this conversation and actually break it down. Luna says, all that built up, everything, how you all unpack it in, out. It's something I have so little clue how to approach from my own trauma. So thank you for teaching me in your own ways. Yeah, check out those videos, Luna. I think you'll really like those. Julie O'Connell says, David needs to watch out when Jenna speaks. I agree. I have in my mind, I'm like, does he watch? And then secretly be like, wow, actually, when I was a kid, because remember, David Miscavige is a second generation Scientologist. And sometimes I wonder, does he see these things and go, oh, wait a minute. I doubt he does, but I hold out hope. Jesse says, no kissing, no touching, no petting. Everyone, we can't have that in Alohatology. No, that is in the C organization. Definitely not here. Which all of you know, especially if you're familiar with my most recent sponsor. I did a community post if you're curious, and there's going to be a video coming out later this week. Now let's take a look at another clip where she talks about learning to trust ourselves as part of our healing. And I find that fascinating because for me, in my own journey out of the cultiness, a large part of that was learning to trust myself, because we were indoctrinated to believe we can't trust ourselves. We have to automatically think, oh my gosh, what would L. Ron Hubbard do? I cannot make my own decisions. I'm just going to look at what, looking for, tell us what to do, because L. Ron Hubbard always told you what to do. So you looked at it that way. And this is just completely breaking free from that. Let's look at this clip.
I like that last little bit, that no matter what, we'll be fine. Because I think that's one of the realizations that you come to in healing when you begin to trust yourself. And when you can trust yourself, you start to trust that you'll be okay. And that you start to trust that the relationships you have, when we start choosing healthier relationships or have healthier relationships, we're more likely to be okay. And so no matter what, we'll be fine is it's one of the things I've used on my own healing journey. I really liked, just a couple minutes ago, as you're talking about your YouTube channel, we're going to need to take like the 5 minutes out of there, because I think that's such a great example of kind of that healthy attitude of what learning looks like.
Isn't that it? We're just continuing to learn no matter how you got here. And that's what I love so much about being here on YouTube, is having the opportunity to continue to learn myself, but also bring on guests that we can learn from. In fact, we're going to look at a clip of my most recent interview with Jordan Horn, the psychologist, in just a little bit. But first, we got to talk about this. Leah Remini she shared that there is a memorial for Mike Rinder, a tribute, and I think it's fabulous. Look at this. This is from Leah Remini's YouTube community post. A bench has been dedicated in Mike Rinder's honor, a place for families to connect, to reflect, and to remember those they love. Mike's greatest wish was to end Scientology's cruel disconnection policy to help families find their way back to each other. The bench is meant to be a space where people can sit, think, and hopefully reconnect with loved ones. Whether you live in Clearwater or are just visiting, I hope this spot brings comfort and reflection. Christy Colburn Rinder, Mike's wife, Claire Headley, and I chose the perfect spot, a place where people can pause and honor the ones they've lost or those they still hope to reunite with, in loving memory of my dear friend and brother, and a friend to so many, my Mikey. A heartfelt thank you to the city of Clearwater for hoping to make this possible. So there's the bench, and there's a little plaque on it that says, in loving memory of Mike Rinder, father, husband, friend, advocate. His courage will continue to inspire many. Now wait till you see where this bench is. There is that, it's right outside. This is where those concerts are in Clearwater, near multiple Scientology buildings. And the bench looks over at the water here, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And I love that it's near multiple Scientology buildings. People who are sitting outside want to watch, the water will be able to read that and see that. I love it. I know Scientology is going to hate it, and I love that they got that done. Now, next thing we need to do is change the name of some streets around Flag to Lisa McPherson Way or something like that. Mark Bunker has made that suggestion multiple times. Very recently, he brought it up again at a Clearwater City Council meeting, and I'm down with that. I think instead of Fort Harrison, whatever, it should be Lisa McPherson Way. I just think that would be fantastic. So this is a good thing. So if you are in the Clearwater area, go ahead and go check that out. Now let's take a look at the interview I did, I think it was yesterday, with Jordan Horn, the psychologist. We were talking about, can you erase trauma? And he reacted to the state of clear, to Dianetics, to the idea that you can erase and get rid of your reactive mind, therefore getting rid of your trauma. Is this a thing? And his breakdown to all of this was fascinating. I'm going to share a clip. If you didn't see this interview from yesterday, put it on your list for today. I thought what he shared was so eye-opening throughout this interview. So let's just take a look at a little piece of it. How it's so different from therapy in that you can adjust to that individual's needs. In Scientology, you cannot do that. It's everybody does the exact same step. Now, you might have things tailored to you when it comes to interrogations. So if you have a family connection who works for the FBI, you might get some extra questions about that when somebody else, does not. But when it comes to the actual healing or getting better, it is all one size fits all. As you guys know, if you'd followed, Scientology really is one size fits all. The bridge to total freedom is one size fits all.
Genetics and auditing is the antithesis of what we know about the science of psychotherapy and helping people. Like when I hear, like L. Ron Hubbard is saying that you got to do these things to help people. It's like, no, like we know don't do that. And we know these things are probably going to be more helpful. So like to me, again, as I explore this more, as we talk more, it just gets to that point of if we're talking about it as a technology, as an approach, as a method, which Hubbard clearly states it is not based on science. It is completely antithetical of what we know of the science. And to me, it just kind of hitting me even harder right now of like, no, this is not how you help people. Like, so it's maddening to me. And yeah, it's interesting.
It is very maddening. I loved what he had to say about it. It's, again, he's just such full of great information and has a way of breaking down some Scientology beliefs or things that L. Ron Hubbard said in a way that is incredibly unbrainwashing and replacing it with here's some actual science. Here are things now that we know and we understand. Here are things that just go along with being human, that you don't need to add all this meaning to it in ways that Scientology did. And we had a whole conversation too about judgment and judging our emotions. And I really got a lot out of it. So hopefully you guys can take a look at that. You can tell too, when I've been doing a lot of videos, because I sound like I'm losing my voice there. But I'm here for it. I got plenty of voice. Now let's take a look. Let's go over to Austin, where Hitzel is in Austin. She's out there live streaming and protesting Scientology. Miss Kim is also out in Austin. Well, Hitzel shared a short of an interaction that happened outside the org that was absolutely fabulous with law enforcement. It happened really quick, but I love this. And apparently a lot of you did too, because multiple people sent me this clip. Check it out. Woo! Yeah! How fun is that? She's on her way into Scientology and it's just like, yeah. Let's just watch that part. Woo! Yeah! Thought that That was so great. And again, I'm going to link down below. You can find Hitzel on YouTube and check her out when she's out there. She's been protesting Scientology in Austin for like a year now. I remember recently she just celebrated her 1-year anniversary. Let's see. Animal Audit Corner says they said that they are a charity. I say Scientology and David Miscavige, put your money where your mouth is. Or where your mouth is, has changed all the names to Lisa McPherson Drive. Oh, and change all the names to Lisa McPherson Drive and other names as well. No kidding. We could probably come up with some fun ones. In fact, if you feel so moved, in the chat and on the live stream, let's hear what should we be calling the street in front of Flag in Clearwater? And including too, maybe we need to come up with a new name for L. Ron Hubbard Way in Los Angeles. I think we really should. Tell me what you guys think about that. In the meantime, we're going to talk about how Ryan Reynolds, yes, the actor, was spotted speaking at Grant Cardone's 10X cult meeting. I mean, 10X organization, allegedly a cult. Some people who've been involved have referred to it as a cult. And based on some of the tactics we've seen, it's a little culty, but that is an opinion. And that is my opinion. Let me know what yours is. Now, you may be familiar, Ryan Reynolds, of course, probably best known for Deadpool. And I really loved him in that Christmas movie that he did with Will Ferrell, Spirited. It's on Apple TV. I've seen it 2 times. I really liked it. He shows up at this thing. Of course, he's paid to be there. Everybody who shows up that's a big name is paid $1, $2, $3 million plus to speak at this 10X conference to lend legitimacy to what Grant Cardone is doing. I thought this was an odd choice for Ryan Reynolds, being that he has been very much involved in this, his wife, Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, that whole back and forth lawsuit mess that's been all over the news. And Ryan Reynolds has been being brought up as part of that. You might think that going and speaking at this cult in my opinion, maybe not the smartest thing or who you want to align or associate with. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Let's look at, there's a creator here on YouTube, and I just went blank on her name. You'll recognize her when you see her. Something Donna. Oh my gosh, total menopause brain fart in real time. You guys will recognize her. Let's look at this clip because she was talking to Popcorn Planet and bringing up what happened with Ryan Reynolds.
I got it now. There it is on your Instagram. I saw
Donna Bowling is her name.
There was a clip of it, right?
Go. So if you go on Grant Cardone's, if you watch the video, he's talking about his out of office emails. And he's like, my out of office emails, sometimes they're really wild. They talk about, these really strange stories. Like I can't come to the email right now because I am doing all of these weird things, or maybe it'll be a diary event about.
And you can see there, that's the video of Ryan Reynolds coming out at 10X. He seems a little underwhelmed to me, especially considered there's fireworks and smoke going off all around him.
This and this and that. He is a weird, strange, humored guy. They are odd people, these two. And I mean,
she's talking about Grant Cardone and Ryan Reynolds.
This is him just coming out of the stage, but I have the whole interview. I'm telling you.
10X live. Check it out on Daily Dose Donna. Yeah, I mean, they're weird. They're odd ducks.
But he got paid probably a couple $1 million, at least $2 or $3 million to do this.
If someone's willing to pay it, can we be mad at it?
Well, to go on the stage is.
See, this is where it's Andy, I think, from Popcorn Planet is actually missing an opportunity here. And you can tell that Donna is down with this. Like she knows about Grant Cardone. She knows what he represents. She knows he is a huge donator to Scientology, right? Big recruiter for Scientology, big frontman for Scientology. I don't think that Andy at Popcorn Planet fully understands this because to me, this was an opportunity to have a little bit of a deeper conversation. And I think Donna would have gone there. She was ready with the receipts.
Such a big choice, PR-wise. It's weird.
Well, I mean, people are still excited to see him. Like it's an interesting dialogue of like, is that wrong? Like, because yes, I understand from our point of view, our audience, yes, it's wrong because they're wronging Justin and they did. at the same time, like if people are willing to pay and people are still celebrating him, should he not? I mean, I think it helps Justin, right? Because it shows there's no damages.
Well, do you think it would be smart right now in the court of public opinion to align yourself with someone who is in the middle of 15,000 lawsuits, basically, who is a hugely proud Scientologist?
Exactly. Grant Cardone. And this is what I don't think Andy fully knew or understood. I want to reach out to her because I want to talk about this. And I think she and I would be on the same page. And she seems to know a lot about it.
Who is an MLM. I mean, look at it. Like, he has a lot of really bad stuff around him. The guy who he's speaking.
I got to look the guy up. So to be fair, I don't know enough about this guy Cardone. I'll look him up. I trust you. So yeah, I bet.
He'll look him up. He didn't know. Missed opportunity in my mind there. I would love to see them go more down that rabbit hole, but I am going to reach out to her and see if she'll come on for a chat about this because I find it fascinating too. And to be an interesting choice for Ryan Reynolds, who, they're working on a little bit of a PR situation, but to then go and do this with Grant Cardone, who's known to be not just a huge Scientologist, but, someone who's allegedly running this cult of his own. Oh my gosh. It's so juicy. I'm going to link that down below so you can see that whole interview. Let's take a look now at a clip of Film the Police LA, William Good at what I think is the police commission meeting. And this is from Audit LA. It's her video. And we've got a clip of her speaking as well. And they are just addressing major issues with the LAPD in Hollywood.
And every dollar that's directed to the LAPD budget are dollars that are lost in services, whether it be street services, sanitation. We're cutting funding for elderly food programs. We're cutting funding for children's food programs. You can't justify an increase in their budget. It's got to stop. And every dollar that's directed to the LAPD budget are dollars that are lost in services, whether it be street services, sanitation. We're cutting funding for elderly food programs.
So true. Very true. Yet so much money still ends up going there. Well, Audit LA had something to say as well, because they're trying to make these changes, it sounds like, where they're saying, oh, if you want to talk with the police, go to coffee with a cop. That's where you go. We're no longer going to let you do it at certain meetings. And she just was not down with that.
See what's going on. I feel like it's supposed to be for the public. It's supposed to be like a private club. And especially with Scientology involved because of how much connection they have to the city. I mean, especially those at these two departments, Hollywood and Northeast. But Northeast not only lets me come, they let me speak openly, even if it's, maybe not what they want to hear, but I'm respectful and they've never had a problem. But this one captain, he said they're no longer going to allow the public in. They're going to do coffee with the cop. Now, I used to be on CPAB, okay? I know I used to help organize coffees with the cop, okay? And I don't want to go to coffees with the cop. They're in private companies, at like Starbucks or wherever they have it. And it's just for the people who are not connected or know what's going on or who are very interested in what's going on. It's for the neighborhood to kind of get to meet a cop and get to know a little bit and to understand there's a slow program and all these things. See what's going on. I feel like it's supposed to be.
I love that she brought that up. I'll link it down below so you can see the whole video. Audit LA is really trying to hold the LAPD accountable. And it sounds like they're trying to back off from interacting with her and other people who show up at these meetings by going, oh, just go to coffee with a cop. No, it's not going to work. Sean, welcome. Aloha to you. I'm glad that you're here. First time commenting. I love that. Shout out to Sean. Okay, so we are going to we got some Dan Walks LA coming up. Oh, gosh, do I love me some Dan Walks LA. And Dan really brings it too. We got a fun clip happening. Where was this? This was right outside. Was this the management building? I think that it was. Let me look. I'm going to pull it up. Oh, we got to take a call first though. Hold everybody. Life After a Cult. This is Natalie. How can I help you? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're in a group that says what? If you leave, your life will completely fall apart. Classic. Yeah, keep going. Mm-hmm. They tell you you're the reason you're not successful. Yep, that too sounds very familiar. Even though you're working 80 hours a week and spending your entire paycheck on their courses? Wow. No, that definitely has got some cult flavor in it. What? They make you repeat mantras about being a billionaire before you even brush your teeth. All right. Well, I mean, I'm all for positive affirmation, so that one's a little gray area maybe. What happens if you don't? Oh my God. If you don't 10x your life, you're considered a failure. Wait, did they constantly quote a guy named Grant Cardone like he's a messiah, even the messiah of capitalism? Ah, that's what I thought. Are you in the 10x program? Okay, so here's the thing. You're not in a cult, even though my personal opinion is that it's a cult. You're in an infomercial with trauma bonding, if that makes sense. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, just because there's no matching robes doesn't mean it's not culty. Emotional manipulation, exactly. Check. Financial exploitation? Check. And Grant Cardone? Well, I mean, he's basically Scientology's hype man in a suit. I hear that. But you know what? If your mentor makes you feel broken, and brainwashed, it might be time to unsubscribe. Yeah, you should get out of there. Yeah, absolutely. Do that. Yes, do not give them any more money. Uh-huh. Well, good, because then you can have a cult-free day. All right. You too. Bye-bye. Oh, people are coming out of the woodwork when it comes to Grant Cardone, let me tell you. And they have got stories. They have got experiences, and I think some of them are waking up to it and are going to need a place to heal. So welcome to Life After a Cult. Make sure you like the video and subscribe, especially if you're new here. Lots to learn and lots to talk about. Let's see. Hey, Elena, I just found out about Scientology and I saw your whole story with Aaron and I'm blown away, but I love the way you tell your story. Do you have a book? Well, thank you for sitting through that marathon interview that I did with Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology. Yeah, that one was a doozy. That's how I got started here on YouTube, was that interview. I don't have a book yet, but I am working on it. And by working on it, I mean, I'm actually not working on it. I need to work on it. I need you guys to hold me accountable for this. There's no reason, well, there's plenty of reasons why I can't get this done, but it is important to me and I do need to prioritize it. And I do want to work on that. So bring it up, you guys. Hold my butt accountable. I want to get it done. Get it out, because even though I've shared a lot, I have not shared everything. But everything will be in that book. And Elena, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Fuzzy Pink Handcuff says, if I 10x my life, I'd have 990 problems. Oh, that's funny. Buckled up Buttercup. This is about the question of the day, right? Would you speak at Grant Cardone's 10X? Oh, yes, I would. But he would hate what I had to say about him being a con man who supports a human trafficking, family destroying cult. Oh, that is so true. You know, that's going to happen too. Animal Audit Corner says, I love Dan Walks LA. I would marry him if he wasn't gay. I would still marry him. Okay, let's take a look. Speaking of Dan Walks LA and all his fabulousness, he caught some Sea Organization members being locked out of their own building. We know that Scientology has been locking out their own members. We see that at the Advanced Organization of Los Angeles. We've seen it at the Hollywood Testing Center. We have seen it at different Scientology locations around where they lock the door and lock their people out. And then it's this uncomfortable thing of like, oh, how do I get in? And in fact, Scientologists have often turned to the live streamer or protester standing there, which is why they locked the door, and asked, how am I supposed to get in? So people live streaming and protesting Scientology are kind of doing double duty in traffic control and letting people know how to get in, even though they usually don't know. Way to make your people feel uncomfortable, Scientology, and way to make it weird. Wow, Elena, you saw it twice. Dang, girl, that's amazing. I need to remember to go back and cut out some clips from that video, some shorter pieces that so people can just kind of click on it and go, here's 30 minutes of this particular aspect of my story. I've been trying to do that more. Thank you, Northern Girl. Book. I will make you right. Thank you, Dr. MLS. Marcy says, yes, Natalie needs a book. I do. I need to prioritize it. Julie O'Connell says 10X is so cringe. I know, right? It is. It's kind of embarrassing. Okay, so anyways, Dan Walks LA. Let's take a look at this. I just love that he captured this. All right, take a look.
Suppressive person, confront and shatter. Communication is a universal solvent. I also just realized that I've been mocking up my own reactive mind and I'm not doing it anymore. That's the clear cog.
Yes, the clear cognition, for those who don't know, this is the realization after tens of thousands, even $100,000 that one has that makes Scientology go, oh, you have achieved the state of clear. You realize that you have been creating and mocking up your own reactive mind and you're just not going to do it anymore. That's like saying, you know what I realized? I've been hitting myself in the head with a hammer and I'm just going to stop. L. Ron Hubbard is the one that told us we had a reactive mind in the first place. So how crazy is that? But no one really realizes that when they attest to the state of clear, because you yourself don't know what you said that got you the golden ticket to say that you are now clear. I didn't find this out till I left Scientology, that's what it was. Again, this one size fits all. It makes no sense. All right, let's finish watching this.
They're probably going to have you go in the front door. Confronting and shattering suppression. Great work clearing the planet, you guys. So many people going clear. This one's not working either. Too bad, so sad for you. Just know that you are loved, you are valued here in the outside world, and if you ever want to leave Scientology, there are resources for you. Scientology is a human trafficking, child abusing cult, and you are part of it. Freeloaders' debt is not enforceable.
So I don't know if they're just trying to get in a different way or they're just like, yeah, we're not going to get in. But, when Scientology is now locking out their own members of the C organization, I just don't know what to say. Sean, this is hilarious. Guess they got declared and no one told them. Yeah, your key card doesn't work anymore. Now, that could happen for a few reasons. It could happen because you were assigned some type of a lower condition. You just haven't gotten the memo yet. Your key card won't work. You are no longer trusted and you have to eat rice and beans. I don't know what's really happening. Adam says, I'm locking up my own reactive door. Pocono Plug says, she looks amused. Could be. She kind of was. Magnus, confront and shatter. No, they only conform and scatter. And that's so true. And that comes from the potential trouble source suppressive person course that is pretty much mandatory for all Scientologists. And it's literally called How to Confront and Shatter Suppression. Yet every Scientologist you see does the conform and scatter. Just the opposite. You're supposed to be able to have this technology to confront and shatter suppression, not conform and scatter. So you were totally right on that, Magnus. Sweatshirts and sweater vests are outdated style. That's right. They're wearing the Sea Org uniform. I don't know, maybe one day that they're going to update it. I don't know. They do like every few decades, I feel like. Gorf, what a great name. As a former Scientologist, do you feel that protesting is helpful in getting people out? In other high-demand groups like JWs and Mormons, there is a backfire effect. My personal opinion on this is it depends on the type of protesting. If it is, I have heard from former Scientologists, and myself included, when there have been messages that really make us think, Great example. If you're so free, why can't you read anything you want to read? Things that like make a Scientologist go, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, that's kind of right. Actually, I'm not allowed to read these things over here. Not all, but some. Then there's another style of protesting I've seen where it's a lot of screaming and calling people names. That will drive people right back into Scientology because all you're doing is validating what Scientology told these people about critics of Scientology, that they're all criminals causing chaos, they're merchants of chaos, suppressive people, all of those things. So in my personal opinion, I think that protesting in a way that makes somebody think is effective. It helped me leave. I know other people, Tori Magoo 44 mentioned that that helped her leave. So I think it's all in how you do it. But people got into Scientology different ways and for different reasons, and they're going to leave Scientology different ways and for different reasons. And people just kind of vibe with, they vibe differently. So I feel like whatever, but I do know that a bit more of that gentle education, asking questions that makes a person think, or even putting it in chalk or putting it on a sign is helpful in getting people to think. And either way you cut it, it helps to raise awareness that Scientology is a family destroying human trafficking cult. When these things are done online and they're shared through social media, through different channels on different platforms to share these messages about why that is said about Scientology and why former members say that that is true. So I do think there's a way that's more effective than others. That's my opinion on it, but I think it's well worthwhile. Let's see. Mock says the Sea Org has a new wellness program now. Walks with Dan Walks. Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. That would be a new exercise program. I think they should totally do that. Animal Audit Corner, Scientology got the taste of their own medicine. It does seem that way, doesn't it? Good morning, Aaron, over at Growing Up in Scientology. I'm glad you're back. Hey, y'all. Aaron, tell me if I got this wrong, but later on today, I think this morning, Aaron's going to interview Ricky Glazier. We sat down with him. I cannot wait to see this interview. I love when Aaron and I interview the same people because we have totally different takes on it often. I will, like interview Jordan Horan, and then Aaron interviewed him. Outstanding. So much more information. He asked questions I didn't even think about asking. So I am super excited about this interview with Ricky. Ricky Glazier posted it on his channel, Aaron. If anybody knows, or like what time, if you're still here, is that interview today, if a time has been set, because I don't want to miss it. I've got some continuing education I have to go to. Oh, okay, good. So I'll be almost done by then. Yep, Ricky and I are chatting at 1 p.m. So I'm assuming that's 1 p.m. Florida time. 1 p.m. Florida time. So that's noon my time. Okay, 1 p.m. Eastern. Awesome. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I love, and for those of you that don't know, Ricky Glazier is in the skateboard world. He's got a huge channel. He actually has multiple channels, and he was very connected and tied in with Aaron Cairo, who is the head of Scientology in San Francisco, and also the head of Braille Skateboarding. And worlds are colliding, but in all the best ways, because there's people in the skateboarding world that don't understand why Aaron Cairo did what he did with shutting down the skate park and other things in the way he treated people. And I feel that as former Scientologists, we can kind of answer some of those questions. Super excited. 1 Eastern. Okay, my meeting is not done till after that, but I will have to catch up on the replay. I cannot wait. I'm so excited about that. And if you didn't catch Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology's interview with Jordan Horan, go check that out as well. It is it's under videos, because we do live streaming and we do videos. So when you go to either one of our channels, you want to check live streams, but you also want to check videos, because sometimes we drop videos there that, weren't actually live streamed. Yeah, Julia, he absolutely treated people horribly. That's Aaron Cairo. And I love the healing that's starting to occur, because people are also in the skateboarding world having a little bit more, not all, empathy for Aaron Cairo and seeing him as a victim of Scientology in ways. So I think it's all very interesting, and I cannot wait for that interview. Now let's take a look. Let's go to New York. Cubs champion was out there. We saw him the other day, in fact, on Growing Up in Scientology, because they were both in New York. Jenna Miscavige was there for an interview for a podcast. I cannot wait till it comes out. I think that's going to be so exciting. Cubs champion was outside Scientology, New York. They were out there with their Dianetics table, and they were not thrilled to see Cubs. Take a look at what happened here.
Yeah, I don't know. It broke. Their cheap tech broke. Yeah, I'm just protesting them. So. Are these the usual henchmen? I'm actually not from New York, man, so I don't know. I just came out to visit to see like other Scientology ones. I've been protesting the Boston one. Oh yeah, yeah. And then I just decided I've been here once before. They call it the safety. Oh, it's good. I can't wait for it. You guys should stick around.
You can see they got the Dianetics table there, and they're trying to sell Dianetics books right outside the org there. And Cubs is, of course, letting them know what's up.
No. Yeah, because he's going to try and kick me out for standing on a public sidewalk. Watch. So if y'all want to.
And you'll see the Scientologists are talking to two young men here who are going to come talk to Cubs in a little bit.
See some shit. So I've been protesting the Boston one. I've been here once before. I think I remember him, and there was another guy. But this is the. He's
bullshitting me, bro.
What do you mean he's bullshitting me?
I'm asking him about what this is, and he said it in 30 years.
Oh, man, usually, bro. What else he say?
Now, here's what's interesting. So the Scientologist told them, hey, yeah, I've been in Scientology for 30 years. And these guys had questions, but did their questions get answered? No, they did not.
I was like, tell me what it's about, man. He goes, let me bring you inside, show you a video. I'm like,
yeah, what an opportunity. Somebody asked you, hey, what is Dianetics and Scientology? And it's come inside. Come inside, my precious. Watch the videos. No. Why can't you just tell them? Because the first rule in Scientology is do not talk about Scientology. Sell them a book. Buy a book, buy a book, buy a book. Come in and watch the screens. Watch the films that David Miscavige, our dear leader, put together, because he doesn't trust us to talk about Scientology or tell anybody what it's actually about. So you go in and you have you watch these videos to find out, rather than just have a conversation about it. I mean, if you were into something, right? Like, I don't know, jet skiing, you love to ride jet ski. And someone said, hey, tell me about jet skiing. Like, where do you go? And you're like, I wrote a book about it. You need to read the book. Read the book, buy a book, read my book, watch this film about my book. It doesn't work. But they don't see that they're not actually answering questions. And then look what happens. The guys go over to Cubs, who, guess what Cubs will do? Answer their questions. So if you see someone live streaming and protesting Scientology and your questions are not being answered, just go to the people protesting and they will let you know about what is happening.
Explain it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's get the games going.
Yeah, so that's what they do. So they usually don't go out here, but usually they'll just and that's how they try to get you. They'll do like a personality test, which is what he just gave you. It's 200 questions, and if you look at it, it's just like it's stuff that. Well, what it does is like they have like they make you answer it, and then at the end they tell you that you're depressed and that you don't know how to communicate with people, and then they come up with the third thing, and then they say that, and you could Google this for real.
I believe it. I watch South Park.
And what they'll say is that the only way to help.
Did you hear that? He watched South Park. So South Park is willing to answer the questions about Scientology, but Scientology themselves, no, not so much.
You get rid of you being such a bad, shitty person is to go in there and take courses for them. So at the beginning, you take like courses that are $50.
I was like, tell me what it's about, man. He goes.
Then he even tells them about how the courses start cheaper and they go up from there. So again, getting the truth about it. And I love that they went over and asked him what was up. I'm going to link that video down below because it's a good one to watch. He actually has multiple conversations with people outside there of Scientology, New York. Really interesting to see. Let's see. Mama Opal says, I love the questions that Ricky asks, Ricky Glazier. I'm sure he has some new questions after having time to process what he discussed with Natalie. I don't doubt it. I mean, I know I do after talking to him. I was like, oh, now I'm thinking about this or I'm thinking about that. So I cannot wait to see. Let's look at a couple of these question of the day answers. And our question of the day, of course, was, would you speak at Grant Cardone's event if they paid you? Yes or no? Let's see. Not that Karen. I would love to speak at 10X. I would wear my never in shirt. I have all kinds of Scientology gems to share. I love that. And for those that don't know, I'm going to plug my merch. It is linked in the description of this video. And I have a lot of never in stuff. Never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult. I love that you have that. I love seeing people out there wearing the merch. Trixie says, only if I could use the time to highlight the issues of being in high control groups and using the money towards helping those affected. Ideally, Grant Cardone would announce that the money would help those, right? Wouldn't that be great? Great Gig in the Sky says no, because selling out isn't on my bucket list. You know what? If I could do it, I would totally do it. But I'd want, sending my own message. They dragged me off the stage before I got even 2 minutes in, right? Does it matter to you? Not to me, says you can really tell Ricky truly still cares for Cairo. I believe that too. After my interview with Ricky Glazier, I could see like he does care. He cares about the sport. He cares about the people, and he still cares about Aaron Cairo. And I think there is a scenario in a world where Aaron Cairo kind of opens his eyes to how his life is kind of fallen apart since he really doubled down and joined staff with Scientology, left for a couple of years to train under David Miscavige to be a Scientology executive. It's just nothing about that really seems to be screaming, oh yes, my life is great. This is just super successful. So I think there is a scenario where he wakes up. I'm going to hold out hope for that still. But you guys know me. I'm a hopeless optimist. I still think John Travolta is going to leave Scientology. Tom Cruise? No. I don't think so at all. I do not. I don't think there's a scenario where he's leaving. I hold out hope for John Travolta. But the thing is with celebrities in Scientology, they're not getting the same treatment as a lot of other people. So many of them have no reason to leave. They're given so much power and support that why would they leave, right? I don't know that John Travolta knows that David Miscavige will have cocktails and go through his confidential files and laugh about it with other members of the Sea organization. This has been documented. People who were there who came out and said, yeah, this is happening. In fact, I think it was Tom DeVocht who was one of those. And Tom DeVocht just started a Substack. I haven't checked it out yet. I want to check it out. I saw that on the Underground Bunker the other day that Tom DeVocht is doing a Substack. And I'm so excited about that. I have to go check it out. I'll see if he's written anything and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Let's see. I was not very good on starring. So apologies for not catching a ton of the question of the day answers there. I'm just kind of going through now. A Squirrel SPTV says Tom Cruise insists on doing his own stunts, so maybe one day he will get hit in the head and realize the truth. I don't know what it would take because, again, celebrities in Scientology tend to be treated so differently unless they start questioning Scientology like Leah Remini did. If you start questioning David Miscavige and asking questions like, where's Shelley? And other questions, questioning maybe the ideal organization. Why is there so much fundraising going on? That will get you in trouble with Scientology, no matter who you are. It's like prep for a massive interrogation, which will be coming your way. Yes, and that is a really you got to hold out hope. I think about it all the time, more than I should, and just hoping that some of these people, especially people that I knew, will leave. And because I often wonder why some of us, we all have different timing. It's like you get pushed to that point of no return by Scientology where you just can't take it anymore. And everybody has a different breaking point. So Aaron Cairo has a different breaking point. And I think that breaking point varies based on what you have to lose. In my situation, I had 3 generations of my family in Scientology. There's a lot to lose when you have family or your business is tied into Scientology and you want to leave, especially if you want to freely speak about it. George Massey says, I think Aaron, at growing up in Scientology, can convince Tom Cruise to leave Scientology. Oh, that would be I would watch that video. Marcy says Natalie hopes JT leaves. I do. That's why I think he's running, going by the protests all the time. And yes, of course, I can be totally wrong. Probably am. But in my mind, I'm still holding out hope. I shared a video on a premiere last night of an earlier chat I had with Aaron. And we kind of went back and forth on why is John Travolta driving by these protests so much, and included some clips. So if you haven't seen it, it's under videos on my channel. It was just last night. It was a really fun premiere. Go ahead and check it out. It was a lot of fun to chat about. Mock says an interrogation usually involves a lawyer and not paying for the interrogation itself, though. Exactly. That's the thing about in Scientology is you have to pay for your own reprogramming. That's the crazy part of it. You participate and pay to be reprogrammed, but you don't know when you're in it that that's what's happening. I didn't know this until I left and then could start to see, and I got more educated about it and could see how, oh my gosh, they were just reprogramming us over and over and over again if we got out of pocket and started speaking in a way that was like red flags, signs of disaffection. That next thing you know, you're getting a security check, an interrogation. What are your crimes? All of the things. Makes no sense at all, but that's Scientology. Adam says John Travolta is staying alive. Staying alive. Adam, you are winning the internet today. I love that. Staying alive. Staying alive. You may have to expand on that. Okay, you guys. I'm so distracted by the chat, but that's what I got for you. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. I will be back later, another time, maybe today, for sure tomorrow. Oh, I need to tell you this. I forgot about this. I'm trying a little bit of a change in my schedule. I'm going to do a Scientology recap on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. Central. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to be doing content, but I'm probably not going to start till 12 or 1. This hopefully will be time to work on my book and do some added research on some deep dives that I want to do, some stories that I'm working on. And I'm going to throw this one out to you right now in case any of you can help with this. I am working on a video that goes into the early history, how 3 or so members of the Grateful Dead flirted with Scientology and had some involvement. I've been doing a lot of research on it. One of the members wrote a book and talks about this interaction with L. Ron Hubbard. If you guys know anything about this, or you have links to articles or quotes from books, can you email me, Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. And again, I'm working on sharing the story of how in the early years, the Grateful Dead, some of them flirted with Scientology and had a little bit of an involvement. That, of course, didn't last. And to me, that is the most fascinating part of the story, how and why it fell apart. Because if you know anything about the Grateful Dead and Scientology, that doesn't mix. That is oil and water. So we're going to get into that. I've got that coming up. But again, if anybody knows anything about that, or you love to research, knock yourself out. Email me, Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. I've got a lot of info, but I'm always looking for more, especially if you're a Grateful Dead fan. And fun fact, my sister Lana, she goes to multiple Dead and Company concerts. And it was actually Lana and her husband who inspired me to do this video, because I didn't know about this. But my brother-in-law read a book, and the guy gets into this connection with Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard. And I had no idea that more than one member had this connection. So I am going to get into that. Absolutely. Adam, yes, they would have become the Grateful Dead. Oh, that's so funny. Pocono Pluck, the dead would be out once they hear about psychedelics. Yeah, truly. It's a very interesting story, and hopefully to interest you guys as well. So that's going to be coming. So I'm still going to do content on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but not in the morning. So I'm going to recap Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Central Time, but I'll still be doing videos on those days. So I'm hoping this gives me a little more time to do the research I need to do and also get my butt going on writing that book, because there are 24 hours in a day, and I just need to figure it out. And as I'm getting more bandwidth back, I want to get back onto doing that. So that's what I got for y'all. I hope everybody, you get out today and you have an amazing cult-free day.